of the great things about Donald Trump no longer being president is that so many of the people that he picked to serve with him are also not around. Like, it's great to not have Stephen Miller. That's amazing. One of the most reprehensible villains in his administration was certainly Betsy DeVos. And so I think a lot of people felt pretty good once she was booted out of DC. You might feel a little bit less good when you find out that she's leaving, having earned so much money while she was in office. She's reportedly worth more than $2 billion, which, as an aside, nobody should be worth, but she apparently is. Reported outside earnings from dividends, interest, and rents of at least $225 million, potentially over $414 million, just during her time in the Trump administration. And when I look at her on her way out, I think that's someone who did a couple $100 million worth of work over those couple of years. That's what I think. Anyway, the figures were found through an analysis of 3 of her financial disclosure forms conducted by Crew. The organization notes that it's difficult to know her exact income as it's reported in broad ranges. Many assets are listed as being over 5 million or over 1 million instead of giving exact figures. At the most modest end of her reported income, she would have earned more than $158,000 every day for the 1,422 days she was in the position. That's more than $6,500 per hour. And if I was slightly better with numbers, I could tell you by the minute. I think I can get close. Anyway, that's so much money day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year for dividends and interest and stuff. She didn't have to do anything to earn that money, JR.
As a matter of fact,
frustrating.
Actually, matter of fact, it's probably even more. It's easier for her not to do anything. If she did something, she may have done it wrong. Because I don't know, I don't see much expertise here. I don't see much of a mastermind of a business nature where she can generate all this money because of her genius. So it's really based on doing nothing. It's based on who you are and who you're married to and who you're connected with and which business is there. Because, okay, Betsy DeVos is a garbage person, bottom line. So outside of that,
maybe this week.
Outside of that, though, all it is just her being a cog in the machine. So if there's a company, corporation that you're associated with that's making hundreds of millions of dollars over a couple years or so, Betsy DeVos is not the driving force behind that. She's just one of the beneficiaries of it. So it's not like she could go in there and be like, okay, we're gonna stop everything. This is capitalism, bro. One person is gonna go in there and stop a machine of a corporation that has been making this kind of money regularly, and then suddenly they're just gonna stop doing it. So honestly, and this is where maybe I'm a bad guy, people that are in these types of positions are not qualified to hold government positions. That's just the way it is, bro. You got your hundreds and hundreds of million dollars. I'm sorry, your $2 billion. You've got that. What are you being appointed a government position for? To help who? And when we see you're not helping anyone, in fact, making more money because the corporation that you're associated with does nothing but make money. That's their job. Why are you here? We don't need you and you don't need us. All that's gonna happen is a bad relationship here. And maybe that sounds like it's bad to limit people from having a job or a government position because they want to serve their country. But it's impossible. It doesn't work that way. Association with a capitalist corporation like this, you cannot serve the people. You just can't do it, even if you wanted to, because your company and your business holdings and your family is still making tons and tons of money. So it's a direct conflict of interest, even if it's not your fault. It's just the way it is.
Well, and the US Constitution has, at least technically on the book, some concern for how money can influence you coming in from like foreign nationals or something. But like, what about just the natural way that you'll be influenced by all of what goes into you being able to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars every day passively through your investments? And we don't even need to speculate like hypothetically how that could influence you or how that could provide a conflict of interest. She and her husband provide perfect examples of that. So she had a stake in Neurocore, a brain performance company aimed at children, as well as her husband's political donations, which she pledged he would stop making when she was entering government. But then she remembered, oh wait, we make more money if we don't do that because they'll give us what we want. DeVos did not recuse herself from matters involving Neurocore that brought up potential conflicts of interest, and her husband continued to make political donations in the 2018 and 2020 election cycles. So are we supposed to believe that that had no influence, that as head of the Department of Education, she didn't do anything that would benefit Neurocore, not because that's what's best for America's children, but because that's what's best to make her marginally more insanely wealthy than she already is. Like, we don't have any sort of requirement that people to serve have below a certain net worth or that they get rid of their investments. But it seems like it makes a lot of sense to do one or both, honestly.
Actually, sadly, I think a lot of times there are requirements in the opposite. That people have to have certain wealth, certain business holdings, certain associations, and certain connections in order to be considered to run. That's just the way historically it's been. So the rich and powerful, why would they choose a poor nobody to run and help represent the things that they've been representing? You know, when people hold power, it's not the top of their agenda list to give it up.
Yeah.
So the only people that get appointed to these positions are the ones that can continue this continuous. We talked earlier about Mitch McConnell. He was calling Democrats in the Senate wanting to change rules so we can have voting rights. He called it a power grab because that would make him lose power because the American people wouldn't vote for him. It's a power grab because he would lose power. That's the problem. It's a bunch of people who want ultimate power and they're calling the other one a power grabber. Each of you is doing the same thing. It's just a matter of who's gonna grab the power. So it's such a false argument to make in the first place. That's the whole point. Powerful people wanna keep their power and then they'll do anything they can, like appoint people like Betsy DeVos who don't know anything to continue to hold that power because they have no other choice. She's just another bolt in the machine.
Yeah, 100%. Did a lot of damage, comes out, made a ton of money. She was gonna be fine either way. Why would you want these people serving? Well, if you wanted the Department of Education,
no one actually does.
Kids,
no one wants those people to serve except for the people who
no actual people. Yeah, and so it's so weird. Like, you would expect that this incredibly wealthy person using their position in government to get even wealthier, damn the interests of the state. That's the sort of thing that, like, a populist news show like Tucker Carlson in theory could be influenced in. But I have a feeling he's not going to have an interest in that. He'll talk generally about the ruling class and the elites, but he's not going to identify the actual ones, certainly not those that served under Republicans.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.